There was a plane crash. And my husband told the truth on his deathbed. Yvonne. You don't deserve me at all. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't choose you. So after being reborn, when my husband proposed a divorce, I signed without hesitation and gave him our son as well. He quickly remarried. It wasn't until 3 years later that his first love was severely injured in a car accident, and I happened to be her chief surgeon. But when I rushed to the door of the operating room, he blocked my way. What are you doing here? Do you think you can take her place just because Sharon is in a critical condition? My son beside him also rolled his eyes and said, Don't you dare go in and harm my stepmother. You're a fake doctor. Get out of here. Now. It wasn't until the operation was announced a success that my son said to me reluctantly, I know you'll do your best for me and Dad. My stepmother will need nursing care in the future. And Dad and I agree that you can come home to take care of her. I simply ignored him and picked up my daughter who had come to pick me up from work. My ex-husband, the CEO, suddenly changed his expression. And my son instantly went crazy. You said I was your only precious child. Who is this bastard? I was suddenly woken up by a phone call in the middle of the night. The director on the other end shouted anxiously, Yvonne. The hospital has admitted a critical patient from a car accident. The situation is very urgent. Come and perform the surgery immediately. The call ended hastily. I didn't even have time to wash my face and immediately took a taxi to the hospital. But I never expected to see my ex-husband, Ryan, in front of the operating room. At this moment, under the pale light of the operating room, he frowned worriedly. Yet he was still incredibly handsome. Many people passing by couldn't help but peek at him. He didn't see me. He was coldly telling the nurse, Cure my wife. And I'll donate 10 buildings to your hospital. The chief surgeon will be rewarded with 100 million yuan. I suddenly realized that the patient the director had woken me up for in the middle of the night was Ryan's remarried wife. Over there. Upon hearing Ryan's generous words, the people around were immediately amazed. No wonder he's President Ryan. The only son of an old money family passed down through generations. He can give out 100 million yuan without even batting an eyelid. You men are all so greedy for money. What really touches us women is that President Ryan is so good to his wife. They truly have a deep love for each other. I'm so envious. If my husband were willing to spend 100 million yuan to save me. No, even 1 million yuan would be great. I listened to those words of envy and flattery, and raised my hand to adjust my clothes. Then I took a step forward, preparing to walk towards the operating room. However, the bodyguard beside Ryan noticed me and quickly came over, pushing me with one hand. Sorry. This is the area for President Ryan's family. Idle people are not allowed to approach. The bodyguard's words attracted some attention. A clear childish voice suddenly sounded. It was my son. The one I had with Ryan. He saw me and stood up from the bench, exclaiming in surprise, Mom is here. Noticing my son's movement, Ryan also looked in my direction. After seeing me, his expression changed slightly, and the corner of his mouth seemed to curl up in disdain. The people surrounding the father and son, obviously the family members of Ryan's remarried wife, Sharon, also looked at me with hostility. What, Mom? Sonny. Don't talk nonsense. She's just an egg that gave birth to you. Your real mom is in there. Struggling on the verge of death. That's right. Sonny. Giving birth to you is just a momentary pleasure. But raising you is a great kindness. Just a momentary pleasure? I instinctively raised my hand and touched my lower abdomen, which still hadn't fully recovered even after 7 years. After getting married to Ryan, I immediately started preparing for pregnancy at the request of his family. But Ryan, in order to prove his ability, was busy with work day and night. In order to match his schedule, I could only follow him around. Some of the bosses who did business with Ryan once looked at me with ambiguous eyes and said, Your little wife is so clingy. I want one too. As for how I suffered from morning sickness for a full 9 months after finally getting pregnant with great difficulty. After giving birth to Sonny, I actually lost 5 kilograms compared to before I was pregnant, which was a pain I never wanted to talk about. And all of this, in the eyes of these people, was just an egg. I smiled self-deprecating lie and walked through the dimly lit corridor towards the operating room with the lights on. As soon as my face was illuminated by the bright lights, Sharon's family members suddenly shouted loudly. "What's wrong with you? Our family is in such a hurry. And you actually came here all dressed up after hearing the news. As soon as you heard that our Sharon was in danger in a car accident, you rushed over here. Trying to steal her husband? There's a limit to being shameless. Be careful of divine retribution." The whole family was indignant, and their spittle almost sprayed on my face. I frowned and took a step back to avoid it. Just as I was about to open my mouth and explain that I was the chief surgeon of this operation, I was interrupted by someone. Before I knew it, Ryan was already standing beside me, looking at me very intently. He just snorted, and instantly those people shut up. Then Ryan looked at me with a smile on his face. His voice casual. "Yvonne, you've become much prettier after all these years. But deep down, you're still the same. As soon as you find out where I am, you come running over. Your makeup is nice. It's the scent I like." Upon hearing Ryan's ambiguous words, Sharon's family members didn't dare to lash out at him, but they glared at me viciously. They deliberately grabbed the arm I used for the operation and pushed me away forcefully. "Get lost, you slut. You came to the hospital to seduce someone else's husband. If you're itchy down there, use a shoehorn to scratch it." As soon as these words were spoken, it immediately caused a lot of laughter at my expense. Exactly. Just look at this bitch. I can tell that without President trying to support her after the divorce, she must have ended up in those karaoke lounges for business people. She's developed all sorts of seductive skills. Our Sharon's husband doesn't fancy you. He's even afraid of catching a dirty disease from you. The vicious slurs against me kept coming one after another. I couldn't even get a word in. In front of these worldly people, I was belittled to nothing. However, I had just finished 3 important surgeries during the day, with a total duration of over 12 hours. I had just gotten home and touched the bed when I was called over by the director with a phone call. In order not to delay the patient's time, I didn't even wash my face, let alone put on makeup. After all, in our line of work, every second counts. And we're snatching lives from the hands of death. How could I possibly have the time to put on makeup and dress up at such a moment? But the people in front of me simply didn't believe it. They stretched out their arms to block me and wouldn't let me get anywhere near the operating room. "Please don't shout and yell in the hospital. It needs to be quiet here." I tried to raise my voice, hoping to calm them down. But just as I was trying to push past them and walk towards the operating room, Ryan's hand suddenly reached out and easily took my phone away. "I've saved my new number in it. In the future, if you want to see me, you don't have to go to such lengths and cause a scene in the hospital. If you want to find me, just call. My secretary will arrange the time." As he spoke, Ryan returned the phone to me and sneered. "After all, I'm not as heartless as you. When you said you wanted a divorce, you even disappeared with our son. Now that you're willing to admit your mistake, I won't stop you from coming to see us in the future." I pinched the phone with 2 fingers, and my obsessive-compulsive disorder flared up for a moment. I wished I could just throw the phone into the disinfectant and disinfect it for 3 days and 3 nights. And Ryan's words, spoken with such righteousness, made me laugh coldly. In my previous life, I wholeheartedly took care of the family and gave up my dream of being a doctor since I was a child. When I dropped out of medical school, the professor was so disappointed in me that she directly told me never to see her again. "You're my most talented student. But now, just for a man, you've given up your dream and completely forgotten your desire to save lives. Yvonne, you really let me down." But after I abandoned everything for love, what I got was Ryan gradually growing tired of me. In the 10th year of our marriage, the news that he had kept a young model caused a sensation in the whole city, making me unable to hold my head up at the gatherings of the ladies. But Ryan said impatiently, "It's just for business." I didn't sleep with those women. Facing my tears and accusations, he finally told the truth. "I really didn't sleep with them. But Yvonne, I'd rather spend 60 million yuan to have them dance for me than go home. Just looking at your bare face makes me want to vomit. Do you understand? In order to save our marriage, I went to the beauty salon for maintenance. I even flew abroad and underwent one plastic surgery after another. But in the face of my expectant gaze, Ryan sneered. Yvonne, are you still that university goddess? You're more like a plastic surgery freak. In his laughter, my self-esteem shattered. Along with it, all my efforts to maintain the marriage also crumbled. A few days later, Ryan took me abroad to look at a private school for our son. But we didn't expect there to be a plane crash. When we were on the verge of death, I heard Ryan say regretfully, "If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't choose you." There was no pain in my heart. Instead, I silently thought, neither would I. So, this time around, I agreed to the divorce without hesitation and didn't even fight for the custody of our son. 3 years have passed. Do I regret it? I smiled slightly, threw the phone on the ground, and crushed it. It's dirty after you touched it. Ryan instantly flew into a rage. Yvonne, stop pretending to be high and mighty. I ignored him, turned around, and faced Sharon's family members, and said, I'm not here today to get back together with the man I gave up. I have a good life now. Although I'm a bit busy and tired, I'm doing something truly meaningful. Instead of humiliating me, you'd better calm down and let me in to save your family member. After I said these words, it became quiet around us. A short figure suddenly jumped down and rolled his eyes at me. Stop pretending. You're my mom. Don't I know you? At home, you had nothing decent to do every day. You just followed Dad around, handing him his slippers and bringing him foot washing water. When Dad ignored you, you spent all day thinking about how to make me a nutritious breakfast. You're the most vulgar woman. There's not a single shining point on you. You're as ordinary as can be. The way my son looks down on me now is exactly the same as his father. Ryan. I looked at the child whom I had given birth to with my own body and raised carefully for 7 years. And a pang of pain still shot through my heart involuntarily. After holding back my emotions for a moment, I calmly said, I'm sorry. Sonny. You heard what your current family members said. I'm no longer your mother. Please have some manners. Don't think you know a stranger so well. Sharon's family members rushed over and protected Sonny, who looked at a loss because of what I said. Isn't Sonny your own child? How can you speak to him so coldly? I've never seen a mother like you. Besides, what did Sonny say about you that was wrong? You're all dressed up now and came here to snatch someone from our Sharon. Is this what you call a meaningful thing? It's really ridiculous. What kind of facade are you trying to put up? As he spoke, a middle-aged man came over and handed me a business card with an interested look on his face. I'm Sharon's father. Our family has some strength to be able to become in-laws with President Trian. President Ryan already has our Sharon, so he will definitely look down on you. If you're in trouble, you might as well come to me. Our Sharon is a talented pianist. She's a girl like the moon in the sky. And she's not something a scheming woman like you from the business entertainment world can compare to. Stop embarrassing yourself. I was really left speechless by this group of people. I was so speechless that I wanted to laugh. Mr. Sharon's father. If you come any closer, I'll call the security guards. The middle-aged man's face changed, and he was about to scold me. Ryan, who hadn't spoken for a long time, suddenly opened his mouth, his tone cold. At this point, why are you still pretending to be a goddess? Yvonne, you're really just a phony. After hearing Ryan's merciless belittling of me, Sharon's father no longer held back. He raised his hand and was about to force the business card into my collar. Little girl, don't be tactless. Once you leave this place, you'll never be able to hook a big fish like me again. Your cold and aloof appearance is exactly what a middle-aged man like me likes. Seeing me trying my best to avoid him, Sharon's family members sneered. The expressions on their faces clearly showed that they didn't believe I really didn't want it. They just thought I was still playing hard to get. In order to get in and save people quickly, I had endured enough. But they showed crazy malice towards me, deliberately standing together to block me and not letting me get close to the door of the operating room at all. Just when I was sweating all over from dodging and was still being hugged by the man, Ryan's face was gloomy, and he directly tore the man off me and kicked him. This is my fucking wife. You're getting close to my wife right in front of me. Do you think I'm dead? Sharon's father's face turned pale. And he sat on the ground, not even daring to cry out in pain. Just then, my son Sonny rushed over and helped him up. He raised his face and stared at Ryan with accusation in his eyes. Dad, why did you kick Grandpa? Ryan was stunned and was just about to speak when I directly interrupted him impatiently. Your grandpa was just kicked once and won't be in danger. But if you keep blocking me from going in, Sharon will really die. Hearing that I didn't refute the word grandpa at all, Sonny's little face panicked, and he shouted at the top of his voice. Although little mom is injured, Dad has invited the best doctor in the whole city to perform the surgery on her. She won't be in any danger at all. You bitch. Don't you dare curse her. Sonny's tone was full of certainty. And the others also nodded in agreement. The best doctor in the whole city, of course, was my director. But they didn't know that the director was old. And I had long been the one to perform the main surgery. And she was just there to give guidance. You're so heartless. What kind of doctor are you pretending to be? Do you even look like a doctor? You don't even blush when you lie. It's so despicable. They kept scolding me one after another. But suddenly the door of the operating room behind me opened. The director stuck half of her body out and looked around eagerly as if searching for something. Sharon's family members swarmed around at once and asked about the situation inside all at once. My son was small and couldn't squeeze in. He turned around and sneered at me. You're pretending to be a doctor, but you don't even do it convincingly. With such dark eyebrows and red lips like yours, you don't look like someone who can save lives at all. I know you're doing this to please Dad and me. As long as you quickly pray for my little mom now and ask God to make her surgery a success, then Dad and I might forgive you. In the past few years since I left, my son had actually been taught to be such an annoying kid. I was too lazy to talk to him and raised my foot to walk towards the director. But I was pushed away by one of Sharon's family members with an elbow. And they desperately pleaded with the director. The man who had just handed me the business card even knelt down on the ground directly, begging the director to perform the surgery well and save Sharon's life. As long as my daughter is okay, you'll be the benefactor of our family. Director, I'll be your servant for the rest of my life. He gritted his teeth and directly kowtowed to the director. However, the director didn't pay any attention to any of them. She even called the nurse and asked her to disperse this group of people who were in the way. After seeing my figure blocked behind them, she even lit up with excitement and shouted at me regardless of her image. Why haven't you come over yet? Are you blocked by this group of people? The director bypassed the kneeling man, strode towards me, and grabbed my arm, wanting to enter the operating room. This patient is really in a serious condition. Without you here, the chance of the surgery being successful is less than 1 in 10,000. While listening to the director's introduction of the situation, I asked the nurse to help me put on the surgical gown and disinfect my hands. As soon as I received your call, I came directly. I didn't even wash my face. When I rushed over in a hurry, I found that I even wore the wrong socks. The director couldn't help but laugh. There isn't a single young doctor in the whole hospital who can care about patients as much as you and is also so talented. Hearing the director's obviously affectionate words, everyone outside the operating room widened their eyes in surprise and fell silent. Sharon's father, who was kneeling on the ground, even collapsed to the ground and looked at me in fear. Before closing the door of the operating room, I glanced at him and said calmly, "Don't worry. I will do my best to save your daughter." On the operating table, there is only life, and there is no distinction between the noble and the common. After the long 8-hour surgery, I was exhausted. The body inside the surgical gown had been soaked with dense sweat. Walking out of the operating room, I announced wearily, "The surgery was a success, and the patient is out of danger." Hearing my words, the people who were still waiting outside all heaved a sigh of relief. Then, heading for my end, their eyes flickered, and they seemed to want to say something to me. My son spoke first and tilted his chin at me, saying, "I know that for me and Dad, you will go all out. Little mom will still need nursing care in the future, and Dad and I agree that you can go home to take care of her." After saying that, Sonny's eyes sparkled. And he actually looked like he was seeking credit. He said proudly to me, "Well, Mom, are you happy with this reward?" I was so angry that I couldn't speak. But suddenly I saw not far away. A small chubby figure was waddling over like a little penguin. "Mom, baby has come to pick you up from work. Is Mom tired? Mom has worked hard. Mom is amazing for saving lives." When I saw my daughter coming, my mood immediately brightened. I squatted down and picked her up, kissing her little face and saying, "Mom isn't tired at all when she sees the baby." Did the baby come to pick up Mom all by herself? Where are the bodyguards and the driver? Where is your dad? Before my daughter could answer, another child suddenly bumped over and tried to pull my daughter viciously. For some reason, Sonny's eyes were as red as if he was about to cry. "Don't you dare call her Mom. She's my mom, not yours." The family members of Sharon standing beside were also very surprised at this time. The ex-wife of President Ryan actually remarried. The child she gave birth to is already so big. I haven't heard of it. Look at this little girl. She's so smart and pretty. Hearing them praise my daughter, I couldn't help but feel a little pleased in my heart. My daughter was a bit shy and hugged my neck, saying, "Mom, Ryan, this little brother is so annoying. Is he really your child too?" I suddenly felt sorry for her. "Be good. Mom is your mom and only yours." After hearing what I said, my daughter finally felt relieved and looked down at Sonny proudly. She said in a babyish voice, "Cute and proud. Did you hear that? Mom is my mom and has nothing to do with you. If you don't have your own mom, go find one in the orphanage by yourself. I won't share mine with you." Hearing my daughter's innocent mockery, Sonny instantly broke down. Big tears streamed down his face, and he sobbed as he looked at me, with a look of longing on his face. "Mom, hadn't fulfilled my instruction. She's not your child. I'm the one you gave birth to, right? You clearly said that I'm your only baby." I sighed and said seriously to Sonny, "Have you forgotten again? I'm no longer your mom. Your mom is in the operating room." Sonny looked at my calm expression. His legs went weak, and he directly knelt on the ground. If it were me in my previous life, I would have immediately picked him up and gently wiped the tears off his face. Even in this life, when I was first reborn, I would have been soft-hearted. When we got divorced, I took the initiative to propose taking Sonny away with me. But unexpectedly, this son whom I gave birth to and raised actually stood up and loudly refused. "I don't want to be with you. A shrewish woman and a useless housewife. I want Sister Sharon to be my mom. She can play the piano. Her clothes are always white. And she smells nice too." Sonny looked at me with a look of disgust. "Unlike you. Your clothes are always wrinkled. And you never wear makeup. You don't deserve to be my mom at all." The intense pain at that time still made me feel scared now. After leaving the Ryan family, I had nothing. I resolutely returned to the medical school and started all over again. The professor originally didn't want to let me come back. It was only after I attended classes as an auditor for a semester that he finally relented. When I graduated and entered the hospital, it was also with the professor's recommendation that I was able to do so smoothly. Before I left school, the professor once said to me, "Remember, you should become a doctor who saves lives, not someone trapped in the kitchen. Don't let yourself down again." Thinking of the professor's words, when my daughter's father first started pursuing me, I flatly refused him. It was only when he directly stepped back behind the scenes for my work and, as a man, chose to take care of the family that I finally fell in love with him. I finally gave my heart to him, got together with him, and gave birth to a lovely daughter in the first year of our marriage. Thinking about these years, in these 2 lifetimes, the road I've walked has been so difficult. It only made me cherish the happiness I have now even more. Something I had never experienced in my 2 lifetimes. After I put aside past grudges and saved Sharon, her family became timid and submissive. When I was about to leave, they even looked at each other and all knelt down. "Thank you, Yvonne. Our family will never forget your great kindness." Sharon's father, who had been so insistent on stuffing his business card into my hand before, now slapped his own face in shame. "I'm sorry, Yvonne. I didn't recognize your true worth. I was drunk and disrespected you. I even mentioned those business karaoke places. That's because I've been there too often myself. I judged you with my own narrow-minded thoughts, thinking that since you're so beautiful, you must have been there too. From now on, Yvonne, if you need anything, just say the word, and I'll be there right away. These people, although vulgar and malicious, truly loved their own family members. I sighed and didn't say anything more. I picked up my daughter and left. But just as I reached the entrance of the hospital, Ryan, accompanied by Sunny, caught up with me. Honey, where are you going? My son and I will give you a ride. My husband had already sent me a message saying that he was parking the car and coming over. I put my phone away and ignored Ryan. I handed my daughter to the nanny who was following behind me. After all, having performed surgeries for 2 consecutive days, I was really exhausted. Ryan glanced at the nanny and muttered softly, "Is this your current mother-in-law?" I almost choked on my saliva. "Can you stop being crazy? Okay?" Ryan's expression changed, and he almost cursed at me. But after Sunny secretly tugged at him, he forcefully swallowed his words back. Ryan had an unreadable expression for a moment before he spoke again. "Sunny has already said it, and I agreed to let you come back home. What are you still being stubborn about? Is it because Sharon has lived in our house? I can buy a new villa and put it in your name. Or are you afraid that I'll treat you the way I did before? You can rest assured, I won't do that anymore." I gave him a speechless look and didn't plan to reply. I was about to leave directly, but Ryan reached out and grabbed my arm. However, when I glared at him, he quickly let go of my hand like a flash of lightning. Rhea looked a bit embarrassed, but his tone was confident. "Looking at your mother-in-law and her daughter's clothes and appearance, your current husband isn't some rich person, is he? Don't worry, Yvonne. As long as you're willing to come back, I'll directly transfer 1 billion yuan to your account. Not just 1 billion yuan. I'll give you anything you want. Looking at how pampered you are now, your husband, that commoner, can't take good care of you. Come back, and let me take care of you." Hearing Ryan's shameless words, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. In my previous life, I stayed at home and let Ryan support me while I took care of our family. But when Ryan came home late at night, he would yell in a drunken state, "You have it easy at home every day, and you don't even give me a pleasant face when I come back. I work hard to support you, not to kiss your cold ass. What's more, during the plane crash, he said that, you don't deserve me," directly negating all of our love. After being reborn, he immediately proposed a divorce. But now, after I gritted my teeth, overcame difficulties, rebuilt myself, and worked hard to shine in my sacred profession, he had the nerve to come crawling back, trying to get back together with me. I shook my head and sneered. "Thank you, but no need. When I was a plain housewife at home, you disliked me. Now that I have no feelings for you, you come crawling back. Ryan, don't be so despicable as a man. Whether my husband is rich or not has nothing to do with you. No matter how rich you are, I don't want to spend your money. Because both you and your money make me feel disgusted." Ryan couldn't stand it anymore and said to me in a deep voice, "Don't you just want me to love you properly? I've already promised that I'll do it right this time. What else are you not satisfied with? Yvonne, don't overdo it." Seeing that I ignored him and was about to leave directly, Ryan gritted his teeth and roared, "Fine. I'll tell you. I didn't actually marry Sharon at all." Hearing this, I stopped in shock and turned to look at him. Ryan blushed and explained to me. "What I said on the plane in the previous life was just out of anger. When I woke up in this life, I proposed a divorce just to see if you would get angry. I didn't expect you to be so stubborn that you directly signed the papers and even gave up our son and left for several years. I have nothing to do with Sharon at all. I'm not interested in her. I found her just to make you jealous and make you come back to me and our son quickly." After saying that, Ryan looked at me expectantly and said, "Isn't Sharon the knot in your heart? Now that it's all cleared up, you can stop being angry, right? Actually, our son has missed you for a long time. And I've missed you too. I stood there in a daze, completely unable to understand Ryan's train of thought. Did he really think his explanation was good? I took a deep breath and said to Ryan, "Sorry. I couldn't understand your thoughts before. And now, I'm not interested at all. I really don't care who you love. I already have a family. My husband treats me well. And my daughter is very cute. The only thing I want to say to you is, please take good care of Sonny. Don't let him end up becoming a jerk like you." After saying that, I gestured to the nanny and prepared to go find my husband. Ryan was silent for a few seconds and then suddenly said coldly, "Yvonne, don't push me. I advise you to think carefully. Can your current husband protect you? He's just an ordinary man. Why should he be able to snatch you away from me? If you really love him, don't harm him. Otherwise, if I take action, your husband won't have an easy time." My steps paused slightly. Hearing Ryan's confident threat, I suddenly felt a sense of relief in my heart. If I still felt a bit of sadness when I heard his explanation about Sharon, then, when I heard Ryan hint that he would use his wealth and power to oppress my husband, that bit of sadness instantly disappeared. It turned out that the man I had loved for a lifetime was just a brute who used his money to bully others. I exhaled a breath, and even the last trace of reluctance I had disappeared. Ryan called out from behind me, "Even if you don't love me anymore, you should think about Sonny. Without you by his side, how can he grow up to be a good boy?" Sonny also chimed in and pleaded with me, "Mom, come back for my sake." I turned around and said to Ryan for the last time, "With a father like you by his side, he will never become a good boy." Ryan's face instantly turned ashen. A week later, I accompanied my husband to a dinner party. But at the party, I ran into Ryan in a suit and tie. Sharon was also standing beside him, looking extremely pale. She had just had a major surgery. How could she walk around so soon? I looked at her in disbelief. But Sharon misunderstood my gaze. She hugged Ryan's arm tightly and glared at me arrogantly. "Isn't this our former sister-in-law? How can you show up at this kind of occasion? Don't tell me you've schemed to come here and try to get back together with brother Ryan?" I was speechless. Before I could respond, I saw Ryan's face turn dark. He directly pulled his arm back and cursed at Sharon. "Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to speak here?" Sharon's eyes flashed, and she started crying. "I'm sorry, brother. I was just afraid that you would break up with me when I saw sister here. Ryan sneered. "Break up? I was never together with you in the first place. I brought you here today just to let Yvonne see that I have no feelings for you at all." I was too lazy to watch their performance and turned to leave. Suddenly, my evening dress was pulled from behind, and it made a tearing sound. I turned around in surprise, and Sharon let go of her hand with a panicked expression. "I'm sorry, sister. I didn't mean to. But your dress is so cheap. It ripped with just a little pull. You won't blame me, will you?" As she spoke, she laughed again. "But even if you do blame me, it doesn't matter. After all, such a cheap dress can be easily compensated. Right, brother Ryan? Please give sister-in-law 30 yuan to compensate for the dress." The next second, I suddenly felt warm as Ryan put his suit jacket over me. He turned around and slapped Sharon to the ground. Sharon covered her face, looking terrified. Blood quickly spread on her white evening dress. "What's going on? My body hurts so much. So much." She had just been in a car accident and had only recently come out of the operating room. Yet she was causing so much trouble here. I sighed and took out my phone to call an ambulance for her. Ryan didn't even look at Sharon. He just motioned for the bodyguard to take her away. And he turned around and tightened the suit around me. "Now you should understand. Right? Sharon means nothing to me. You're my wife. And the misunderstanding is cleared up. Yvonne, you're not angry anymore, are you?" I had a blank expression. I took off his jacket and threw it back to him. Seeing that Ryan refused to take it, I just threw it on the ground. "Sorry. I have no feelings for you. What's there to be angry about?" A look of hurt flashed across Ryan's face. He grabbed my arm as I was leaving. "Why are you at this dinner party? Did you know that there are all successful people here and come to drum up business for your husband? I've heard that your husband is also in business. He's probably not a big shot. He actually let his own wife show up in public. As he spoke, he directly raised his wine glass and smashed it on the ground, attracting a lot of attention. Ryan stared at me and said in a cold voice, "All of you, listen carefully. I don't care who this woman's husband is. In the future, you're not allowed to do business with him. Otherwise, you'll be going against my Ryan family group." After his words fell, the banquet hall was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Everyone present knew the reputation of the Ryan family. And for a moment, no one dared to refute, until a male voice sounded, breaking the silence. "Oh? Not allowed to do business with me?" My eyes lit up. I broke free from Ryan's grip and ran towards the man. Gavin smiled and hugged me. When he saw the torn evening dress on me, his eyes darkened. "What's going on? Honey? Who bullied you?" I leaned against him with a sense of relief and shook my head. However, Ryan gritted his teeth and grabbed my arm again, trying to pull me out of Gavin's embrace. Gavin didn't even move. A large group of bodyguards suddenly emerged from behind and pinned Ryan to the ground with just a few moves. Ryan knelt down in a sorry state and shouted angrily, "Where are the bodyguards? Hurry up and pull my wife out. I've been cuckolded." But he didn't notice that the bodyguards who had originally been following him had already been controlled by Gavin's men. Ryan struggled on the ground, gasping for breath, and glared angrily at the CEOs around him. He shouted, "What are you just standing there for? Don't you know how to give me a hand? Do you want to be blacklisted by the Ryan family group forever?" What happened next made Ryan's eyes widen in shock. Those CEOs came over one after another, flattering him. They wiped Ryan's trousers and raised their glasses to my husband. "President Gavin, on the first day you came back from abroad, I've been wanting to bring my whole family to greet you. Is this Miss Yvonne President Gavin's wife? She's so graceful, beautiful and charming. Just like a celebrity." President Gavin. Yvonne. Amidst the endless flattery from everyone, Ryan finally understood. It turned out that the person I remarried was never some small business owner. After falling in love with me at first sight, Gavin pursued me for a long time. But I always refused him. I'm a doctor and I'm already very busy. But he's even busier than me. A marriage like this couldn't last long. Therefore, Gavin directly chose to step back from the limelight for my sake. But although he moved his business behind the scenes, he became like the tip of the iceberg that was exposed. People who didn't know the truth would only think he was an unknown nobody. Ryan knelt on the ground, his face completely flushed with defeat. "Yvonne, you still love me, don't you? I know you're not the kind of person who's vain. Even if Gavin is richer and more powerful than me, you love me." I smiled and said, "I really don't care about vanity. As long as I love someone, I'll marry him even if he's worth $1 trillion. If I don't love someone, I won't marry him even if he's worth $2 quadrillion." After saying that, I took Gavin's arm and kissed him on the cheek. Ryan didn't speak for a long time. In the competition of male power, Ryan had always been invincible. Therefore, in this defeat, he lost especially miserably. It wasn't until the end of the banquet, just before my husband and I left, that he shouted loudly, "Yvonne, do you think the things that happened in your last life won't happen again? I admit that I was a bit tired of you and got distracted in our marriage. But I'm telling you, Gavin is just like me. For men like us who are in high positions and hold great power, how can we be dedicated? When the time comes and you come back to me, Sonny, and I won't despise you." After getting into the car, Gavin asked me in a low voice, "Do you believe what he said?" I smiled and said, "What does it matter whether I believe it or not?" Ryan's words were completely without reason. However, he ignored the fact that I'm no longer the person I was in my last life. In the past, I was determined to be a good woman. Once my husband strayed, it would feel like the end of the world. But now I'm a doctor. And in my world, there are many things bigger than a man. The next time I heard news about Ryan, it was that the Ryan family went bankrupt. The fall of this giant was like a huge whale sinking, causing a bubble in the entire market. I had just finished a surgery and was extremely tired. But I still waited until Gavin came home and asked him, "Did you do this?" The Ryan family group was indeed an unshakable presence in the country. If it wasn't for Gavin's intervention, I didn't think it would go bankrupt. Gavin didn't even pretend and looked innocent as he said, "Who told him to say I'm not dedicated?" This man seemed mature. But in fact, he was very childish. For example, just because of Ryan's words that made him unhappy, he targeted the Ryan family's company. And for another example, as a person in a high position, he still believed in eternal love. Since I became a doctor, I've had less and less time and had devoted myself completely to my career. At first, I would still put on makeup occasionally. But later, there wasn't even a single lipstick at home. In my last life, when I was busy with housework and didn't have the time to take care of myself, what Ryan did was to take me on a vacation abroad. When my heart was focused on Sunny, he banged the table in a rage and said, "I've even brought you abroad, but you're still that shrewish woman inside." But Gavin, when I came back from the hospital, tired and haggard, would cup my face and kiss me deeply. He would sigh and say, "No matter how I look at you, I can never get enough." Many years later, I heard that Ryan failed in another business venture. Over the years, he had never given up on rebuilding his family business. Nor had he given up on looking for me. Until one morning, a new message suddenly appeared on my phone. "I'll never have a chance again. I'll never be able to wait for you anymore. Will I?" I looked up at the TV, which was broadcasting the news that Ryan, the only son of the once great Ryan family, had jumped off a building. On the TV screen, there was an image of my already aged face. It turned out that without realizing it, I had been with Gavin for several decades. I calmly deleted that text message and stood up to get dressed. I still had a surgery to perform as the chief surgeon later. The sunset was just right today. My best friend Violet is a big star. She was dying, and I donated one of my kidneys to her. The transplant operation was very successful, and she recovered well. But a few months later, she made her fans cyberbully me and even blocked me. Violet's extreme fans attacked me, and I died on my way home. Just before I died, I suddenly understood why she had done that. The moment I was reborn, I was about to sign the consent form for the kidney donation operation. My hand hovered in the air without moving, and I was a bit dazed. I glanced at Violet, who was lying pale in the hospital bed. She was on an intravenous drip, and the skin on her arm was almost transparent, with blue blood vessels visible. She was in a very bad state. I threw away that pen and decided not to sign. "What's going on?" Violet's mother asked in a hurry. Violet managed to force a smile and said, "Scarlett, is the pen out of ink?" "No. I've decided not to donate." I raised my eyebrows. Violet's mother became anxious. "Aren't you Violet's good friend? Didn't you always say you wanted to save her life? How can you go back on your word and not donate?" I've thought it through. I can't donate this kidney. Violet. Goodbye. After saying that, I raised my foot to leave. Violet was instantly panicked. Her mother rushed at me like a madwoman, trying to grab me. I quickly hid behind the doctor. There was chaos in the ward, and the doctors stopped her. I walked out of the ward. Since heaven has given me a chance to be reborn, how could I make the same mistake again? Let Violet fend for herself. The first thing I did when I got home was to pack my luggage. I decided to find a safe place to hide. The things that were about to happen must not be simple. I bought a plane ticket to Yunnan as quickly as possible and ran off with my luggage. Sure enough, that day, a topic on Weibo became a top trending search. The best friend of the popular star Violet changed her mind at the last minute and refused to donate a kidney. Violet's life is in great danger. The headline was extremely inciting. Her fans flooded my Weibo with all kinds of abuse and death threats. It was the same operation as in my previous life, just that the timing was advanced. Later, Violet launched a live broadcast. In the video, her eyes were red, but her face was bloodless. She really looked like a sick beauty. Everyone has the right to choose. Scarlett is my best friend, a friend for life. She has her own considerations for not donating a kidney. Please don't scold her anymore. I don't want to force anyone. Even though I'm dying, I still hope that my best friend can live a healthy and happy life. Scarlett. We once made an agreement to go to so many places in the world. I hope that after I die, you can see the snow-capped mountains, the sea of flowers, and the starry sky for me. She choked up several times while saying these words. Finally, she fainted, and the staff next to her turned off the live broadcast. It was really pretentious. She was really good at moral kidnapping. I still remember that in my previous life, a few months after I donated the kidney, she said this to the media: Scarlett donated a kidney to me. And I'm very grateful to her. But she thinks she can control my body from then on. She comments on my daily behavior and tries to control my life. I'm a person who has been on the verge of death once. Now I just want to live well, enjoy life, and enjoy myself. But Scarlett thinks I owe her and tries to use this to psychologically control me. Scarlett herself wanted to donate. No one forced her to donate. At that time, I was shocked beyond belief and couldn't believe what I heard at all. We had been friends for 10 years. So close that we slept in the same bed and shared the same ice cream. She always said, Scarlett, except for my boyfriend and toothbrush, I can give you everything else. Who would have thought that it was all an act? The ringtone of WeChat interrupted my memories. My boyfriend made a WeChat call. To prevent being located, I had already pulled out the SIM card of my phone. After answering the call, my boyfriend Blake immediately asked, Scarlett, where have you run off to? I can't find you anywhere. What's the matter? You promised to donate a kidney to Violet. Why didn't you donate at the crucial moment? I knew he would ask this. I don't want to donate anymore. Is there a problem? How can you go back on your word like this? She's dying. What's the big deal with you donating a kidney? He roared at the other end of the phone. I couldn't help laughing. Good for you, Blake. What's the big deal with donating a kidney? Blake is Violet's manager, and they are having an affair. In my previous life, he asked me to go back to the apartment to sort things out, and I died on my way back. It's hard to believe that he had nothing to do with my death. Blake, am I your girlfriend or is Violet your girlfriend? It sounds like she's the one you love. Oh, let me think. She is indeed your darling. I know all the dirty things you two have done behind my back. He was still aggressive even though he wasn't in the right. Scarlett, what are you going crazy about? Come back to me quickly. And let's clear up this misunderstanding. Did he think I was mentally challenged? Now even garbage is sorted. Be a bit more conscious and go to the trash bin where you belong. Don't act like a monster here. Okay? I hung up the phone and blocked him. All in one go. Looking again. The topic Violet's live broadcast was at the top of the trending searches. One comment caught my attention. Why is a popular star of her level best friends with an ordinary person? Because she has always wanted Scarlett's kidney. There were a lot of comments under this comment, so it was pushed up quite high. Not long after, this comment was deleted. Violet must have done it. Fortunately, heartfelt failed I took a screenshot. I quickly found that ID and sent him a private message. What do you know? He replied quite quickly. Then you have to take me out of the blacklist. Finn. It turned out to be Finn, Violet's ex-boyfriend. I took him out of the WeChat blacklist and sent him a greeting. He sent me a dog head emoji in return. Miss, having fulfilled my sigh. You finally know what your best friend is really like. I couldn't know it more clearly. Finn made a voice call to me. He reminded me, it's hard to explain on the phone. Where are you now? Find a place to hide well. I'm filming in Dolly. I'll come to find you when I'm back. I was silent for a moment and then said, I'm also in Dolly. What a coincidence. Finn is also a star and was very popular before. When he and Violet announced their relationship, IBO even crashed. But the good times didn't last long. And they suddenly broke up. Violet told me while crying that Finn had cheated on her. Suddenly, a lot of negative news about Finn appeared online. And each piece was more terrifying than the last. That period was his darkest moment. He had no movies to film. His commercial endorsements were terminated. And even the movie that was supposed to be released in theaters was postponed. It was only after a long time when the matter died down, that he started working again. But he could only take on some low-quality online dramas. At that time, I was so indignant that I blocked him. Now, looking back, he was slandered. He was also harmed by Violet. I dressed myself up so much that even my own mother wouldn't recognize me and went to his hotel to meet him. He had just finished filming. Wearing a white shirt. His collarbone was exposed. And he was lying lazily on the bed. This guy really has a good appearance. No wonder his fans lick the screen with his photos. I asked directly, "Tell me what you know?" "Scarlett. You're in such a hurry that you don't even want to catch up with me." I plopped down on the sofa, grabbed a bottle of mineral water beside me, and took a big gulp. She's endangering my life. Can I not be in a hurry to find out what's going on? I learned about this by accident. Finn told me that after falling in love with Violet, he accidentally found her medical examination report. She was born with only one kidney. And the doctor had long predicted that one day her kidney would fail. But she never told anyone, including Finn and me. When Finn asked her about her physical condition, she was evasive. She was so afraid that Finn would break up with her because of this that she said there was no need to worry about the kidney source, as her family had already found a matched kidney source for her through typing a long time ago. She could have it transplanted whenever needed. At that time, Finn was still wondering how she could be so confident that someone would provide a kidney source for her at any time. But as soon as the news of my kidney donation came out, he associated it with what Violet had told him earlier and knew that the kidney that had been targeted for a long time was mine. "Actually, you were just a living kidney source kept by her side," Finn said. After learning this, everything made sense. In my previous life, after a few months, she found that her body was well compatible with my kidney. So she set her sights on my other kidney. A living person couldn't donate another kidney, but a dead person could. She once said she wanted to donate her body and tricked me into signing the agreement to donate my body as well. As long as I died, with some tricks, she could smoothly get my other kidney. Right? After figuring all this out, I shivered. You're in great danger now. You have to hide well and never let her and her lackeys find you. You can't hide forever. It's better to take the initiative than to just defend. I want to stay alive. And you want to clear your name. Finn, sigh. Do you want to cooperate with me? He raised his eyebrows and asked. She's a popular star with great influence. You're just an ordinary person. What can you do? Don't forget. I'm Violet's best friend. I still know a lot about her. Deal. We hit it off immediately. During this period, there were a lot of brainwashing remarks on the internet advocating that a person only needs one kidney. I guess Violet's marketing team also played a big role in this. Violet's series of unscrupulous actions made her fans angry. Many diehard fans went to the hospital to queue up for kidney matching in order to save her. She was really lucky. There was actually a fan who matched her in the kidney matching. When I saw this news, I knew it was time for me to make my move. I took her out of my WeChat blacklist and sent her a message. On the same day, I bought a plane ticket and went back, and then went to the hospital where she was in broad daylight. The media surrounding the hospital kept pressing their cameras at me, making me feel like a big star. I walked into the hospital room and saw Violet, who looked even more haggard, and also saw that scumbag Blake. At first, she said that one should keep the benefits within the family or group, so she introduced me to Blake. Her lips moved slightly, and she glanced at Blake beside her. Blake tactfully stepped out. Before he left, he didn't forget to tell her to call him immediately if there was anything. Seeing that there was no one else in the room, I got straight to the point and said, "I know about you and Blake." Violet immediately defended herself, saying, "Scarlett, are you angry because of this? It's all Blake's fault. He used his status as an agent to coerce and entice me." I was out of my mind. "Scarlett, now I'm being punished. It's reasonable for you to resent me. I brought all this on myself." I sneered in my heart. As expected of someone who started as a child star, she was a natural actress. She wasn't some small star who could be easily manipulated by an agent. I've also thought it through these past few days. Although I'm really angry that Blake cheated on you, Our 10-year friendship can't be broken just like that. What's more, you're so seriously ill now. Tears welled up in the eyes of the innocent-looking girl. If I didn't play along with her acting, it would be disrespectful to her acting skills. So, I said emotionally, remember 10 years ago, when we first met? You gave me a necklace engraved with best friends for life. At that time, I was really touched. I really regarded you as my closest family member. You jerk. The innocent-looking girl covered her face and burst into tears, begging for forgiveness. I can forgive you, but you have to help me take down that scumbag together. I knew her too well. Even if she found a new kidney, she wouldn't let me go. She had been eyeing my kidney for 10 years and wouldn't let it go easily. And what on earth is Blake? She agreed to me. And we hugged each other, crying bitterly. In the high-rise building opposite, someone took a picture of this scene. The headline the next day was, "The inseparable sisters have buried the hatchet. And Violet's best friend is back." The public opinion started to turn. Some fans said that I only dared to come back when a new donor appeared. Some people said that the two of them hugging and crying looked like they really had a deep affection. There were all kinds of paid posters, fans, and passers-by mixed in. And it was impossible to tell who was telling the truth. I expressed my concerns about the death threats. Violet said that she would discipline her fans in the fan group, and once the hype subsided, I would be okay. Don't worry. Those trending topics can be suppressed with some money. As for Blake, I'll just fire him directly. We'll talk about this after you have the surgery. Right now, your health comes first. I held her hand and said with a smile. After Violet had the kidney transplant surgery, she had a persistent high fever. I once thought that she would die before it was my turn to take action, but she managed to pull through. It really proved true that saying, the wicked outlive the good. When she was critically ill, Finn came to see her and even stayed outside the ICU without sleep for 2 nights. Paparazzi captured this scene, and the public opinion that had just been suppressed flared up again. Fans argued endlessly. Some thought that true love shows in times of trouble, while others thought that the scumbag was trying to whitewash himself. Finn told me that they broke up because he discovered her dirty deeds and decided to stay away from her. But Violet still loved Finn. She just couldn't have him, so she tried to destroy him. This kind of personality is really terrifying. When Violet woke up and saw Finn with a scruffy beard, she was deeply moved. The two of them got back together. Finn pushed aside his work and stayed by her side in the hospital all day long. They were so affectionate. Just like being immersed in honey. Sometimes I want to sigh. Those who say that Finn has bad acting skills, just open your eyes and take a look. Finn's acting skills are at the level of an Oscar-winning actor. Violet's mother was very satisfied and took the initiative to give the two of them some space. Blake saw all this and was almost furious. He hated Finn very much. When Violet was dating Finn, he had insinuated about Finn in various ways. At that time, I thought he was worried that Violet would be deceived by a scumbag. In fact, he was jealous. Jealousy is a poisonous snake. It can drive people crazy and also led to their destruction. Just me, the mobile kidney source. Asking Violet to take down Blake is far from enough. Finn is the best catalyst. When Finn was away, Blake whispered in Violet's ear that Finn was trying to use her illness to gain popularity and whitewash himself to return to the peak of his career. Violet gave him a disdainful look, ate the orange that her boyfriend had just peeled for her, and said with a smile, "I'm willing to let him return to the peak. I'm happy about it. Mind your own business." Blake pointed at her nose, and his tone changed. "What do you mean by your own business? You're an artist. You don't have any private affairs. Your emotional life will affect your career development. Why can't I interfere?" Violet put the bowl down heavily, looking very unhappy. "Blake, why'd out a low sigh? I'm your boss. Have I been too nice to you usually? That you've become so presumptuous? I haven't settled the score with you for making Scarlett angry and almost causing me to die." Blake got a cold shoulder. Finn had eavesdropped enough at the door, pushed the door open, and Blake left in anger, brushing past him. When Finn told me about this, I knew that the seed of jealousy had started to grow wildly. When people were discussing Violet and Finn's relationship online, Suddenly a discordant voice emerged. Someone analyzed that there was a hidden relationship between Violet and her agent Blake based on their group photos. For example, Violet's body leaned towards Blake in the group photo. Or when Violet was holding Blake's arm, she seemed to snuggle up to him. And Blake posted a photo on Weibo wearing a watch that was the same style as Violet's. In short, the analysis was very detailed. Then many people who didn't know the truth started to echo these opinions. This voice unexpectedly grew stronger. Violet was sick in bed and had a falling out with Blake, so she simply didn't have the energy to deal with those online comments. I, very thoughtfully, took these posts and came to her hospital bed. Look, someone is deliberately trying to mess with you. When the innocent-looking girl saw these posts, she was almost driven crazy with anger. I pretended to be surprised and said, "Finn doesn't know about you and Blake. Does he?" This sentence hit Violet's sore spot. She quickly covered my mouth and looked towards the door nervously. "You mustn't tell him." "Don't worry. I definitely won't tell Finn. But you can't stop him from going online. And you can't stop his relatives and friends from telling him about these things. Right? I think these posts were written on purpose." You said. "Could it be that Blake is the one behind this self-directed and self-acted drama?" Violet hesitated for a moment and said to me, "Scarlett, I need you to do me a favor." She said that she had to fire Blake before the public opinion expanded further. But Blake was her agent and had something used to threat and or blackmail SB on her. She wanted me to help retrieve those pieces of evidence in advance. "My contracts," she whispered to me. "Blake helped me finalize these. Those contracts can't stay in his hands. If you help me get them back, I won't have any weaknesses in his hands." I smiled. After all, I had been in a relationship with Blake for 2 years. I knew which safe he kept the contract in. Blake's house was provided for him by Violet. With her approval, I called a moving company, entered the familiar password, and openly entered the house and emptied all the furniture. Guess what? While moving the furniture, I accidentally discovered a hidden camera by the bedside. Why did Blake install a hidden camera by his bedside? I frowned, realizing that this matter was not simple. So, I turned on his computer. In the cloud software of the camera, I found some indescribable videos of him and Violet. Goodness! He went to such lengths to control her. It's really an eyesore. I guess if he used the videos to threaten Violet, she wouldn't dare to take action against him. How could I let him have his way? I made a copy of the videos and deleted all the files in the cloud completely. The safe was embedded in the wall and couldn't be moved. But he was lazy and only used 2 or 3 passwords. I managed to figure it out right away. In the safe, there were contracts signed by Violet and several USB drives. I swept them all into my bag. After finishing all this, I and the moving company quickly left the residential area. I didn't go back to my own home. Finn provided me with a safe place to stay. I went back there, turned on the computer, and checked the USB drives. Inside were evidence of Violet's shareholding company's false accounting. There were also chat records of him paying to smear Finn. And all kinds of shady deals that couldn't be exposed to the light. Goodness! Taking out any of these records could make Violet unable to recover. I have to say that Blake was quite scheming. He had always been Violet's tool, doing those shady things. So, he also knew her methods best, and thus he left himself a way out. I sorted out all the materials and sent a message to Finn to communicate the latest progress. Blake hadn't gone to the hospital yet, which meant he hadn't gone home either. I quickly went back to the hospital and told Violet about the new discovery. I couldn't be the only one getting excited about such a thrilling thing. After hearing about the videos Blake recorded, Violet's electrocardiogram shot up suddenly. I quickly comforted her. "Don't worry. I searched his computer thoroughly. I should have deleted everything. And the data in the cloud has also been cleared. This scumbag." She gritted her teeth and said. She probably only regarded Blake as a plaything and a tool. But she didn't expect to be outsmarted by him. I knew that the rift between her and Blake couldn't be mended. Blake's call came in. She was still angry and answered it on speakerphone. Then we heard him shouting on the other end of the line. "You emptied my house." "What do you mean? Where are the things in my safe?" I left him a note. Otherwise, he wouldn't have known who did it when he got home. Violet looked at me in surprise. She only asked me to secretly get the contracts. But she didn't expect me to move all the furniture. But Blake's arrogance successfully irritated her. She cursed. "What do you mean by installing a camera by the bedside?" Blake fell silent on the other end. After a moment of silence, he said, "Violet, it's because I love you. I don't just want to be your manager. I also want to be your husband. I just kept the evidence of our love and look at it every day. I almost vomited up my leftover food from the night before." The innocent-looking girl's face turned extremely ugly. She first gave him a string of swear words in Chinese. And then continued. "You're just the manager I hired. Your improper thoughts about me are nothing but daydreams. If you stay quiet and don't cause any trouble, we can part on good terms. But if you insist on falling out with me, then neither of us will have a good time. You know, you did those things. And you're an accomplice too." After scolding him, she hung up the phone and turned to me, saying, "Why did you empty his house?" "Because I wasn't sure what kind of contracts or other things he had hidden in which piece of furniture. So I just moved everything back. He's very sly. The safe was just a distraction. Violet, he's really ruthless. If I hadn't emptied his house, we wouldn't have found the camera at all. What should we do next?" Suddenly, she changed the subject and said to me, "Scarlett, you'd better give me all the things you found first." After the kidney donation incident, she couldn't fully trust me anymore. Or rather, she had never really opened up to me. So, this time, the fact that I knew so many inside stories made her scared. Of course, I nodded in agreement. The furniture was still on the moving company's truck. I could give it to her if she wanted it. As for the electronic files like videos, I could make as many copies as she wanted. Violet's mother personally dealt with those pieces of furniture and the USB drives. She also took away several contracts. But I didn't care, because I had already hidden the important things. The innocent-looking girl should have talked to Blake. I don't know what deal they made, but Blake didn't take any further action. Before Violet was discharged from the hospital, she took a group photo with the fan who donated a kidney. The beds of the two of them were next to each other. She and the fan held hands, and a faint smile was on her carefully made-up face. The media took a photo with the caption, "A die-hard fan donated a kidney," which saved the life of the popular actress Violet. Violet was extremely grateful and vowed to repay the die-hard fan. Looking at the weak fan, I was very worried about his future. In my previous life, it was me who took the photo with her. She was almost dying, but she still didn't forget to create a buzz. My bed was next to hers. She held my hand and shed silent tears. In that photo, she had a kind of fragile beauty and was rated by the fans as the fairy shedding tears. I thought the media had just found it to create a big news story. Now I realize I was too naive. After the operation, my body was much worse than before. I was only 23 years old, but I couldn't even lift a bag of rice. And I couldn't even pick up a small dog. I would be out of breath after walking up to floors. I couldn't stay up late. Couldn't eat barbecued food. Had to avoid fried food. And couldn't eat spicy food. But I didn't regret it, because I had saved the life of my best friend. However, I found that a few months later, she started frequenting nightclubs, drinking, smoking, and staying up late. Not cherishing her body at all, I criticized her seriously. Because I didn't have a second kidney to give her. Who knew that she was actually eyeing my second kidney? Violet gently patted the back of my hand, interrupting my memories. I helped her leave the hospital. Outside, there were a large number of media and fans surrounding us. And the security guards made a path for us. After getting into the nanny car, I looked outside through the car window. Suddenly, I saw a familiar face in the group of fans. It was him. That extreme fan who killed me. My blood froze in an instant, and I even felt a sharp pain in my neck, as if arterial blood was gushing out. I subconsciously covered my neck. Cold sweat broke out, soaking my back. I felt dizzy and almost fainted. "Scarlett, what's wrong with you?" Violet noticed that something was wrong with me. I firmly gripped the handle of the car window and stared outside. That extreme fan was wearing a duckbill cap and a sweatshirt of the fan club, squeezing towards the Manny car. He was tall and big, so he stood out especially among the fans. Violet followed my gaze and pursed her lips. I know this man. He's a persistent fan of mine. Blake has talked to him several times. One day, I'll find a way to get him locked up. I curled up in the seat, my back sweating. It felt chilly when the air conditioner blew on me. Violet used the extreme fan to kill me, and then smoothly sent the extreme fan to prison. She really has some tricks. By the way, Violet, didn't we sign the agreement to donate our bodies together? I went to revoke my part of the agreement a few days ago. What? Violet was greatly shocked. And then she quickly adjusted her facial expression. No wonder she's someone who has received training in facial expression management. Actually, hadn't so seldly and sigh. Just revoking an agreement to donate the body. She didn't have to be so shocked. Her reaction told me that it wasn't over. As long as these bad people were still around, nothing was over. The rumors about Violet and Blake gradually lost their heat as Blake left his position and a new manager took over. There must be some money involved in this. But netizens are good at forgetting things anyway. I thought Violet and Blake would turn on each other. But it seems that things didn't go so smoothly. It's time to do something big. The top gossip account on the IBO suddenly announced that there would be a big reveal on Monday, and that it would release an earth-shattering piece of gossip. After brewing for a weekend, the account suddenly posted a group photo of Violet and Blake, with the previous preheating. The internet exploded all of a sudden. The fans firmly insisted that this was a photoshopped picture and believed that Violet was being smeared. The fans even lashed out at the paparazzi, and claimed that they would report this account. The fans got what they asked for with their various actions. The account unhurriedly released a second group photo the next day, claiming that if necessary, there were also videos. Violet's public relations team must have been so anxious these 2 days that they lost a lot of hair. Violet was almost going crazy. Once this kind of news came out, it basically ended her acting career. She called Blake and said that she had already given him the money. So why was he still trying to ruin her? Blake definitely didn't admit that he had leaked it. Violet called me over again. I arrived at her house at the right time. Her eyes were red, and it looked like she hadn't slept all night. She asked in a hoarse voice, "Scarlett, tell me, who leaked those videos?" She was suspecting me. I used all my acting skills in my life, hugged her, and burst into tears. It's all my fault. I must not have found all of them and didn't delete them completely. Blake is a pervert. After recording these things, he must have backups in other places. He's not satisfied with the money he got and wants to drag you down with him. She was doubtful, and her attitude and tone became much milder. Actually, I also suspected that it was Blake. I just asked you because only a few of us knew about the videos. If I wanted to harm you, I wouldn't have told you about the videos. I was still talking when the door opened, and Fan stood at the door with a dark face. Just by standing there, it felt like a dark cloud was pressing down from behind him. The savior is here. You're really something. You so-called innocent actress Violet. Even a rabbit doesn't eat the grass by its own burrow. But you actually slept with your own manager? And this man was also your best friend's boyfriend. Finn looked extremely disgusted. I didn't know you were so morally corrupt. I wasted my sincere feelings for you. Now I might as well have fed them to a dog. Violet. Let's break up. The innocent-looking girl panicked. She ran over and hugged Finn's leg, begging humbly. I was tricked by that dog Blake. He set a trap for me. Please calm down. I will definitely give you an explanation. Finn, having fulfilled, as if possessed by an Oscar-winning actor, said coldly, I've had enough of your hypocrisy. It's over between us. He pinched her chin, acting like a domineering CEO. I haven't even settled with you for the things you did to harm me before. After saying that, he turned his face away and left. Before leaving, he gave me a look. Hurry up and leave. I'm not leaving. I want to watch Violet's established empire collapse step by step. The gossip account didn't post the video online. That kind of thing would pollute the eyes of the people who are just watching the drama. But the fact that Violet had an affair with her manager was already conclusive and couldn't be whitewashed. Blake's identity was still the boyfriend of Violet's best friend. At this time, when netizens looked back at the news of best friend Scarlett refusing to donate a kidney, they finally understood the story behind it. At this time, Violet could only bite the bullet and post a short essay. First, she apologized to the fans and netizens and deeply reflected on her actions. Then, wet out, she changed the subject and pointed the finger at the manager. She claimed that Blake, in order to control her, resorted to any means. He lured her with despicable methods and recorded videos as a threat. After being recorded, she lived in fear every day, and her physical condition deteriorated day by day. In the end, it was so serious that she had to have a kidney transplant to maintain her life. She thought about ending her own life several times. But because of the support of her family and fans, she bravely survived. Later, she realized that since she wasn't afraid of death, why should she be afraid of this video? She decided to part ways with Blake. Sure enough, Blake took out the video and spread it online, trying to ruin her. My goodness. This essay is really wonderful and can even be regarded as a model for public relations. She portrayed herself as a victim. And this trick seemed to really work. The fans who hadn't lost their faith in her began to argue that she was harmed by a scumbag and that evidence should be collected to send the scumbag to prison. I think Blake must not be able to sit still at this time. Small videos were flying all over the place in the WeChat chat messages. So, Blake really still had backup data. He had already decided to go all out and not care anymore. Some fans even went to Finn's Weibo and left a comment saying, "Brother, go and support sister quickly." Finn's fans fought back and cursed, "We don't pick up trash." At this time, more explosive news came out. All the chat records of Blake, as an intermediary, paying people to smear Finn were exposed. It was clearly stated in the records that it was instigated by Violet. During that period, all the negative news about Finn corresponded one by one with the chat records. Finally, heading fullständigt up beside, the truth came to light. Finn's fans were overjoyed, and Violet's fans fell silent. Finn also wrote a short essay. He stated that the first time they broke up was because he and Violet had different outlooks on life, values, and the world. Although he was smeared after the breakup, he never thought that it was Violet who did it. When he saw that Violet was critically ill, he returned to her side without hesitation. Even when he saw the group photo of Blake and her, he believed her explanation. However, he didn't expect that the mastermind behind all the negative news was actually this seemingly innocent girl. He was deeply heartbroken and decided to break off the relationship with her. For a while, the topic feeling sorry for Finn also made it to the trending list. Blake died. One of Violet's extreme fans attacked him, and he died on the spot. When I heard the news, I instinctively covered my neck. Fortunately, having fulfilled my said, in this life, it wasn't me who died. The fan was wearing a baseball cap and a sweatshirt of Violet's fan club. After killing Blake, she didn't leave. Instead, she just sat at the scene and waited to be arrested. I really wanted to ask her if she was happy that both Blake and the extreme fan had been dealt with. Whether she was happy or not, I was definitely happy. During this period, Violet stayed at home and didn't go out. I watched as the people around her became fewer and fewer. When you are prosperous and wealthy, people around you will fawn on you. When you are in complete failure, people around you will naturally scatter like birds and beasts. Everyone knows that Violet's acting career is over. Brands one after another terminated their endorsement contracts with her, and movie investors also came to her to claim damages. She had to pay a huge sum of money. I calculated for her. After paying off these debts, she would only have 2 billion yuan left. Well, this 2 billion yuan was enough for her to live a prosperous life for the rest of her life. How could that be allowed? So, another bombshell came. The news that Violet signed 2 contracts, one real and one fake, spread like wildfire. The original contract was directly sent to the door of the relevant unit. An electronic document of Violet's company's false accounting was also thoughtfully attached. It saved the staff a lot of time. When the authorities checked, they were really shocked. The amount of tax to be paid in arrears plus the fine was a full 2 billion yuan. Violet's assets were frozen. And the 2 billion yuan disappeared in an instant. Now she was just an ordinary person. An ordinary person who was poor and weak. After this series of blows, her body couldn't hold up anymore. Perhaps the kidney originally didn't match her well. And she had a severe rejection reaction. She was urgently admitted to the hospital. And a critical illness notice was issued. The fan who donated the kidney cried bitterly outside the hospital, loudly scolding Violet and demanding that she return the kidney. But in this world, there is no such thing as a regret medicine. Violet's family called me to the hospital. Finn asked me not to go, but I didn't agree. I borrowed his bodyguards and went to the hospital with them. I said I wanted to talk to Violet alone. So I asked her mother to leave the ward. The bodyguards stood guard at the door. And not even a fly could get in. Violet was lying in bed, with a drip in her arm and an oxygen mask on. She looked extremely vulnerable. In just 2 short months, she simply couldn't accept the reality of her complete failure. Her eyelashes fluttered, looking like a little butterfly. I knew she wasn't asleep. Every time she pretended to be asleep, her eyelashes would keep trembling. Violet. I'm here. She opened her eyes and weakly tried to sit up. I helped her up and put a pillow behind her back. Scarlet. Save me. I'm going to die. Only you can save me. She grabbed my hand and tears welled up in her eyes like a fairy. But who was she pretending for? I disgustedly pulled my hand back and laughed. You want me to donate a kidney again? Scarlet. You've always been my good best friend. You don't want me to die. Do you? I looked at this, White Lotus, and suddenly couldn't hold back my laughter. Not really. On the contrary. I can't wait for you to die sooner. This time, Violet was shocked. Her pupils dilated. And she growled hoarsely. Why? Everyone has abandoned me. Are you going to abandon me too? Shall I tell you a story? I had a dream. In the dream, I donated a kidney to you. And you recovered well. But how could just 1 kidney be enough for you? And I just happened to sign a body donation agreement under your deception. So, you induced an extreme fan to kill me and took away my other kidney. Tell me, shouldn't I hate you? Violet cried. No, Abenza. That was just a dream. You shouldn't hate me because of a dream. I shook my head and said. You're wrong. That's what really happened. Think about it carefully. What was your purpose of keeping me by your side? If I hadn't taken action, it would have been me who died. Violet's body trembled violently. So, you did all of this? I didn't answer her. I just stared into her eyes and said with a smile. Guess? Scarlet. You bitch. You won't die a good death. Violet struggled to strangle me. But she was too weak. She suddenly fell off the bed with a loud thud. I didn't help Violet up. Instead, I turned around and left the room with the bodyguards. What was waiting for her? Death from kidney failure? Or getting another kidney transplant? The probability of the latter was very low. Her life and death had nothing to do with me anymore. After walking out of the hospital, Finn called me. Is everything settled? Yeah. How about having a meal together? I've reserved a restaurant. No. Thanks. I still have something to do. Woman. Do you know who you're rejecting? Of course. It's Vince Kai. The Oscar-nominated, overbearing CEO-like guy. But I'm Scarlet. The indestructible little superhero. I've always wanted to go on a trip to the seaside before. Time waits for no one. I'll set off tomorrow.